And we are officially live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another ChurchTrac webinar. My name is Wes, and today I have got the creator of ChurchTrac, the guy that leads our entire development team, Byron, with us in the house today.
Hello, everyone.
This is going to be exciting. It's been really hard to try to get this guy away from all the code and stuff to come on over, but we were finally able to make it happen. So I'm excited.
Me too.
So today, this is the Church Connect Show and Tell. If this is your first time joining one, we did one, oh gosh, was it like a year ago?
Last year we did a couple, yeah. One of our most popular webinars of the entire year, actually.
Yep, we see people still watching it on YouTube all the time. So this time around, we've got some new Church Connects to show off. And we're going to be showing off Church Connects from multiple churches from all over the world here. Now, we're going to be kind of like judges, so to speak. I'm going to be the guy that's typically you always called me the
optimist.
Yes, the optimist. And Byron here is going to be like Simon Cowell from American Idol.
I didn't think anybody liked Simon Cowell.
Yeah, he was like the guy everybody wanted to watch.
Oh, okay, well, we'll see.
So he's going to be brutally honest. I'm going to be the guy that's like, fantastic, great job. I think that'll be a good mix. That way we can really just kind of take a look at a lot of these different connects, looking at the apps and just kind of finding the things we like, the things that need to be made better, and kind of go from there. Now, before we get started, I do want to remind everybody about that Facebook group. So we have a Facebook group called ChurchTrac Users, and that's a great place to go, hang out, talk to other ChurchTrac users from all around the world, share ministry tips, share each other's connect pages,
Right.
and all that sort of stuff.
In fact, we got so many submissions for today's show and tell that we can't possibly do them all.
There's no way.
So it'd be great if we don't get to cover your page today during our session, go onto our Facebook group, submit your page URL, ask for some feedback. I'm sure some of our users will be happy to do that. Even some of our ChurchTrac staff can jump on there and give you some feedback on your page.
I mean, you've been known to jump in there on occasion.
Every now and then.
We got to get you away from the code to look at the Facebook page.
Right.
So awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get to it. Now, I'm going to keep the chat wide open here. Just a quick FYI. Now, we're not going to really be answering questions in the chat. It's really more so for you all to talk to each other. So when we do start calling out these different connects, go ahead, let everyone know. Say, hey, that's my page. Because I'm sure you'll probably have some people ask you questions as far as like, hey, how did you make that one card or something like that. And at the end of this entire webinar, we'll enable our Q&A mode to answer your questions live on air, just like our other webinars.
A couple of other things to remember is that if you ever need help in ChurchTrac, it's super simple. You log into ChurchTrac, you go up to the right-hand corner, and you click on the green help. That connects you to our support staff, our amazing support staff, and they'll be able to help you with any questions you have too.
Yes. Shout out to our support staff. You guys are the best.
Before we get started, you remember, Wes, when you were back in school and the teacher announced a pop quiz and you weren't ready for it and you feel like, I didn't study, I didn't read the chapter.
I never studied in school.
You never studied. Well, we're going to have a little pop quiz. It's just one question.
Okay.
But, I think it's a good reminder to have this question. What is Church Connect?
Okay.
And so take a look, and as soon as you see the answer, go ahead and put it in the comments. You'll win absolutely nothing if you're first. But, hey, what is Church Connect? A, it's a website for your church. B, it is an app for your church. C, it is a member portal. D, it's a custom form builder. E, it's an online directory. F, it's an online giving platform. G, it's free with your ChurchTrac subscription. Or H, all of the above. What do you think, Wes?
I'm going to go ahead and say all of the above because that's usually what it is when you get asked these kinds of questions.
Absolutely right. All of the above. Church Connect really is an amazing tool, especially when you consider that you get all of this for free with your ChurchTrac subscription. There's nothing else out there that compares.
Now, Byron, how are we able to offer this at no extra charge? Like, in the words of Michael Scott, why are you the way that you are?
Well, this is why we do what we do. We want to equip you, the Christian church, with the tools you need to do more effective ministry and to achieve your mission. And at ChurchTrac, we like saying that your mission is our mission. It's why we do what we do. And it's behind everything that we do as we seek to partner with you in your ministry.
Yes. And speaking of ministry, because we call them ministry partners, let's go ahead and start showing off these pages, shall we?
Let's do it.
And so just quick FYI, these pages that we're going to look at, first and foremost, when I say pages, connect pages, apps, I'm really saying the same thing because Church Connect, after all, is kind of all those things.
Yes.
And also, we're not going to be signing into any of these as church members just simply because that's really hard to do for me to sign on to every single one. So I'm going to be looking at each Connect page as basically a person that's looking at it for the first time. So let's go ahead, let's get started. And the first church I've got pulled up here is Faith Cumberland Presbyterian Church. So if you are in the house, say hey to all of us here. And so I'm going to go ahead and do a quick little overview. So I'm going to be looking at each one first like on an iPad size just because it's a little bit bigger screen. And then we'll switch to a mobile view because I think most people are going to be looking at it on a mobile device. Byron, you think?
Right. And keep in mind, too, that it looks a little bit different. If you're looking at it on a desktop computer, you'll have 3 columns of cards instead of 1 or 2.
That's right. All right. So just quickly looking here at Faith Cumberland, I'm just kind of gradually scrolling down as I look. So they've got who we are. So that looks like a page card, perhaps. If I click it, let's see. Yeah, so it's a page card. So very cool. So far, what are your first impressions here, Byron?
It looks really good. I would say that the background color is a little dark for my taste. I would make it a little lighter by a couple of degrees, but otherwise it's nice. I'd also shorten the title at the top. You've got a very long Welcome to Faith Cumberland Presbyterian Church. Shorten that down. You could even just say welcome since your church name is already at the top anyway. And it wouldn't hurt to throw a logo in there too.
Now let me switch to a mobile view here. So we're going to look at this on like iPhone size, smartphone size, just so we can get a better feel for this. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Byron. So we really want to try to either minimize this or eliminate this, put a logo instead. And then looking at the text, so let's see, we've got a prayer card here. So let's take a look. All right, cool. Yeah, I see what you're saying, though, Byron. That's hard to read that text with that color.
Right.
So we definitely want to have something different there. Let's see what other cards that they've got here going on. All right, so quote card. This is good. You need to have directions to your church, make it easier for people to find you. Visit our Facebook page. Fantastic. It looks like we have got a ministry here, the Call Ministry for Grief Recovery. Awesome.
So as you're scrolling, one of the things that I notice is that dark gray color keeps popping up. You might want to mix that up. There's several different choices you can pick from, and not all your cards need to even have the header and the footer section. You can customize them in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and this is kind of funny. I saw this. Let me go back to that larger view so everyone can see. So this particular church decided to put a QR card just to kind of explain what a QR code is to some of their people who may not be familiar with them. And obviously, this is something that's good, like I guess on a desktop device or an iPad. So that way they could take their phone and scan that QR code. But overall, yeah, I like it. There's a lot of cards going on. And as someone who's looking at it just as a bystander, I can quickly find out the who, what, where, and whens about this church. So
you can share your QR code on your screen during your worship services or put it in your handouts. You can even put it on a business card if you needed to. There's lots of different ways you can share that QR code, which will bring people directly to your Connect page.
All right, well, let's take a look at another church. So I'm going to pull up here. This is Coosa Valley Church of God. So let's go ahead and pull up Coosa Valley Church of God. And so just in my initial thoughts here as I look at it, I see there's a lot of uniformity, which I really like uniformity. I like the colors, how everything's kind of consistent here. Let's look at this digital Connect card. I'm just kind of curious about this. And I'm actually going to switch back to the phone view here because I want to see what this looks like on a phone since many people are going to be using their app for this anyways when they get on the Connect app. So fill out the following Connect card and the CV staff member will be in touch with you. You can also use this form to update your information. So that's interesting. So this is like a form that people can fill out to be able to get in touch with the church, like a connection card. But it's also a card that can be used for existing people at their church to be able to update their information. I like this because you can kill two birds with one stone. That's kind of a neat idea. What do you think so far, Byron?
At the same time, there's a lot of stuff on this page. There's a lot of stuff in this form card. You might want to pull out some of it and maybe put it on either another form card, or there's information here that you might want people to update directly in your ChurchTrac database, and they can do that when they sign in to Connect. They can update their profile and some user-defined fields, and that might make it easier for them to update their profile directly rather than doing it through a card and then you having to update it.
Yeah, that's a good point. But what's nice is, I mean, as someone who's looking at this just as a bystander, like, there's no question of what's going on in each one of these cards.
Right.
So that's good to have because I'm not guessing here. Because every once in a while I'll come across a Church Connect where I'm legitimately have no clue what each card does because there's no indication. And Coosa Valley did a really good job of just outlining everything.
Right. At the same time, though, you might, even though you like the unity, I would say go for a little bit of variety sometimes too.
Like a picture or something?
A picture or make the cards that are more important stand out a little bit more in some way. There's also, for a new person, there's a lot of stuff here. And you might could put some of these cards on the member setting where you have to log in before you can see it. It's not necessarily on your front welcome page.
Okay.
And so that might help to clean this up just a little bit.
Yeah, there are some cards I feel like they could make only available to people logged in, so that way they do minimize a little bit. But very cool. I like the logo, everything going on here. So that was Coosa Valley, so shout out to you all. I'm pretty sure y'all are out there hanging out. So let's go ahead. I'm going to switch back to that iPad view just so everyone can kind of see just a bigger overview and just kind of see the general outline of it. Oh, and one thing I noticed here, too, they've got their phone number right there for the church and the official website, so that's kind of neat. So, all right. Well, let's go ahead. I'm going to pull up our next church. This is Rockville, Church of God of Prophecy. So let me go ahead and get them loaded up. All right, so Rockville. Rockville, if you're in the house, let me know. So just kind of looking through here, what do we got going on? I see an About Us. So it looks like we've got a page card here where they're outlining just their vision, their church's mission, what they believe. That's really good because you're going to have a lot of people that before they even step foot in your church, they want to know who you are and what you believe.
Right. If you go back to that for a second, too, you'll notice, though, that some of the fonts and the colors are not super consistent. They're changing up a little bit. So you might want to look at the HTML behind that page card and tweak it so that everything is a little more consistent. And if you need some help with that, just reach out to our helpful support team.
Yeah, they'll help you with that. Let's take. I'm going to go to a mobile view here since most people are looking at this on a cell phone typically. Oh, and just I didn't even say this earlier on, but we should be putting up the QR codes for every single one of these churches. So that way, if you want to look at it in your own device, you can. So let's see. They've got church info. So if I click that, all right, so that just pulls up all the info of the church. I like that because that way it just lets people know, hey, in person and online, Monday Bible quiz, Wednesday night. So there's no question of what's going on and when it's going on. So that's awesome.
Right. A couple other things that I noticed here. Right here on your screen, you've got a verse of the day card. And this is a really neat concept. And I looked at this page yesterday, and the image was completely different. So they're going in and changing out the image every single day, which is it's a little bit more work, but wow, look at the result of that. That's nice. The only thing you might want to do is change the green background at the top of the header on this so that it's a little more of a neutral color. It seems like with some of the images you're picking, it might be in contrast a little bit. And so make the colors work together a little bit better.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Cool. Got a giving card here, prayer request, so I could click that. I bet that brings me to like a form card here, which, by the way, all these form cards we're looking at, that is completely customizable.
Right.
All right. Anything else, Byron? Or?
Yes, right here at the top.
The top, all right.
So you notice the logo. So it's got this white background around it. This happens a lot of times when you upload a JPEG image. You're going to have a solid background color. And it works better for logos if you use a PNG, which can have a transparent background. So that white background disappears on the logo and it just kind of blends into the background.
Yeah.
You also notice, though, the text at the top is way too small to see.
I can't read any of that.
And so I would crop that out of this image and just have a transparent PNG without the text, just your logo at the top.
Yeah. That sounds good. Oh, and just to FYI, I think we have it in our show notes, but if you're needing to edit photos and you don't have a photo editing program, I think we have a few in our link for our facts page for Church Connect. We've linked to a few free online photo editing programs. A few of them I've actually used all the time. So
there's a lot of good information on that page.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, let me go back to the overview just so everyone can see the overview of that. And that is Rockville. And they've got lots of stuff going on here that I can see. Baptism request, so that's another form card it looks like. So I really like how they've used a lot of different ones. And of course that connection card, just quickly pulling that up. So you can see here's another card that people can fill out that form to get connected with the church.
That's a really important card that I think every church should have.
Yeah, do you think they should maybe move it more to the top there, Byron?
Especially since it's usually going to be first-time guests that are looking for it. Make it easy for them. Absolutely.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, let me go ahead then. So that was Rockville. So the next church we are going to pull up here is Agape Fellowship Center. So let me go ahead and get them queued up here. How's everybody doing out there? You having fun? And it's always kind of interesting to be able to see all these different pages and apps and just seeing how different churches utilize Church Connect. Church Connect, like how every church is so different, I've never seen a Church Connect page that looks the same as another church.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So this is Agape Fellowship Center, and So just kind of going through here. So the first card they've got, Meet Agape's Pastors and Ministers. I actually want to click that. I want to see what that looks like. Oh, neat. So Byron, isn't this our new card that we just came out with?
This is our brand new gallery card that we
nice.
just introduced a few weeks ago. This allows you to upload multiple pictures. You can add text to the picture either as a description. You could even add a little bio under each picture if you wanted to. But you don't have to use these just for About Us or staff pages. You could use it for a picture gallery for your youth ministry or for your children's ministry, any number of things.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great card, though. I like that. So let's. I'm going to switch to mobile view here. That way we can just get a taste of what this looks like on a phone. So first thing I see here, I know I'm not supposed to be the bad guy, but I just have to say it as someone who's visual. There's a lot of text here. Do you think all this text is necessary, Byron?
You could just say welcome or welcome about us and then leave the rest of that text on the page after you click on the card. So I would say no. Go ahead and slim that down a little bit and then have the text if they want to read more on the following page.
Okay.
A few other things here is this background is very vibrant. And some people like that. I would tone it down just a little bit, especially if you go back, Wes, and you look at their logo. This is also an image that we need to convert to a PNG with a transparent background. And when you do, that yellow background is going to conflict a little bit with the yellow that's in your logo. They'll be right up next to each other with that white spot taken out of the logo. And so to make the logo pop a little bit more, go ahead and tone down the background here just a little bit. I think it'll look a lot better.
Okay. Let's see what we got going on. So click here for tithes and offerings. Great. So giving card. So lots of good information here. Prayer requests. So if I click that, I'm sure it's taking me to a form card. Yeah. Let's see how they did their prayer requests. So they have my name, my first time guest, prayer request, any questions or comments. Plus they give like a decision if I have a decision. Really cool.
You might even want to split that into two different cards. This seems less like a prayer card and more like a decision card. And so you might want to have a decision card that's separate from your prayer card, which would allow people to do either or. Okay.
Yeah, but regardless, this is something I feel like I could fill out in about 30 seconds as a church member. So that's great.
Looks good.
All right. Anything else or?
No.
All right. Well, and that is Agape. I'm going to go back to that full screen just so everyone can kind of see what it looks like on the bigger screen and kind of see it holistically here. But they're definitely utilizing a lot of different cards and everything from form cards to page cards. You can see that Facebook. I guarantee you that's probably a link card. I don't want to click it just to take me out of there, but that goes to their Facebook page or group. And it looks like YouTube they've got here. So lots of great stuff going on. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. So it's Northside Baptist Church Millen. So let me go ahead and cue that one up here. So Northside Baptist Church. Let us know if you're in here, Northside Baptist Church. All right. So got Northside Baptist Church pulled up, and let's see what we got going on here. So we've got a lot of different cards here about us, our beliefs, like it, about us, our ministries, about us, our staff. Let me see, about us, our staff. I want to click that. Coming soon. Okay, so they might be getting ready to utilize a gallery card perhaps on that. Let's take a look at their beliefs. All right. So it looks like it's just taking them to a link. All right. So lots of cards going on. What are your initial thoughts so far, Byron?
So if you're just going to link to another page, instead of using a page card, you could just use the link card, and that would remove one of those clicks.
Yeah.
Also, there's 3 different about us, there's 3 different about yous, and there's 3 different connects. You might want to see which of these apply just to your members who are going to be logged in, and maybe move that behind the sign-in screen so that it's only visible for those who are signed in. The other thing is here, there's some consistency with the cards, but then there are some that aren't consistent. And so maybe think about your strategy as to how you want it to look on different platforms and what you want to convey, what information you want to convey, and then just having a consistent message. Also, I would say the fonts maybe, especially on the the 9 cards that are about us or about you or connect. Maybe update those fonts a little bit to look better, and then add a logo to the top. That'll make it really stand out.
Yeah, they put that logo on there. I think I'll drastically change it. Let me go to mobile view here. I just want to quickly see what it looks like on a mobile device. And you can see, everybody, why we're switching between like a not desktop, but like an iPad and a mobile, just because these cards and everything look so differently depending on the device, even though they are the same. And so it's just kind of good to see this and how it interacts on a phone, since most of our people are going to be downloading that Connect app to use it. So great. So I feel like as someone visiting for the first time, I can find out everything I need to know about this church.
Absolutely.
So that's a good job. I mean, because I've seen a lot of Connect cards or Connects of churches where they only have just a few cards, and it's so bare bones that I don't even know anything about the church.
Right.
And so I'm just kind of like, why even create a Church Connect if you're not going to put anything on there? So good job on that. So that is Northside Baptist Church, Millen. Let me go ahead. I'll go back to the iPad view. All right. So that's the iPad view. So we've got a next church coming up. This is Trinity Lutheran Church, and they are in, I think, is it Texas, Byron?
Yes, Temple, Texas.
All right, so Trinity Lutheran Church. So we've got it pulled up here. So first thing I noticed, I really like, I like the logo here.
Right, looks really sharp.
Yeah, and may the peace of the Lord shine upon you. Like, just looking at this and reading that text, I feel peaceful already.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. So we'd like to connect with you. Let me go ahead. I'm going to look at a mobile device view here. So I'm going to go back to an iPhone. Just because I like to look at some of these cards with the phone. So let's look at this connection card they got. So they're asking for a person's first name. How would they like us to contact with you? I like that. So that way you give your people a preference, and then they can fill out that information here.
That's really nice.
Yeah. And how long do you think it would take you to fill this out, Byron?
Less than a minute for sure,
Yeah.
even with typing in some information on your phone.
And that's good.
That's really good.
So, yeah, and that's just kind of something good to keep in mind for all of your form cards. And unless it's like a form for like a specific type of event or something you're creating, when it's just a general kind of connect with us, you want to keep it about under 60 seconds for your people to fill that out. Let's look at this prayer request card. I like that picture. I wonder where they got that picture from. All right, so kind of very similar to the other ones. So they're using a mixture of different types of fields here. So what is this one called? A selection list, Byron?
Yeah, checkbox.
Checkbox. Yeah, I always forget the name of that one. So, all right, what are your thoughts so far, Byron?
There's a lot of really good things happening on this page. If I had to be critical, and it's hard to be critical on this one, there's so many good things going on. It's that there's a lot of cards that are back-to-back that are mostly white, with white backgrounds.
You can see that here, yeah.
You can especially see that in the iPad view. When you're there, you can tell that with the white background and the white cards, there's spots where it just feels like it could use a little bit more color or background image, or change them up so you don't have two white cards side by side.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, obviously, the majority of people are going to look on a mobile device, but whenever they are pulling this up on a desktop or an iPad or tablet, it does look a little bit kind of odd there. But it looks like they have upcoming events card. Let me take a look at that.
Right. And there's a couple different ways you can do this. One of the things I noticed here was that they used an iframe to embed their upcoming events from ChurchTrac directly into this page, which is one way to do it. However, your iframe height and your content height are set to two different heights, and so if you scroll down, you see that it doesn't quite line up right. And so that's something we can help you fix. Or you can also just create a link card to link to your upcoming events page in Church Connect, and that's an easy way to do this as well.
Yeah, I would say that would probably be an easier way. But yeah, and for those of you listening who are like, iframe, I don't even know what that is. Reach out to our support team. We'll help
Sorry, sometimes I get a little carried away with the code
your
stuff.
code. Yeah. The only reason I know that stuff is because I hear you talk about it. Cool. So that is Trinity Lutheran Church's page here, and I'll quickly just kind of go through here. So There's so much going on in here. I wish I had more time to kind of go through. They have what is a Lutheran, to learn more about our core values and everything. That's cool. They even have our church's response to COVID. I see that very common. A lot of churches are doing that, repass sermons. So good stuff. All right, so that was Trinity Lutheran Church Temple, and that's in Texas. So awesome. Let's look at our next one here. And this is Calvary Port Austin. So Calvary Port Austin, if you're in the house, let us know. So get that loaded up here. Ooh. All righty. So just first thing I noticed, I like all these colors and pictures.
Right. It's really well done.
So even for a guy that's all big on code, do you like those pictures too?
I do. I like the feel and the look of this page a lot. I'd say if I were being really critical, maybe add a nice logo at the top to really set the page off.
Yeah. Let's take a look at, I'm going to look at a mobile device here. So we'll go to the iPhone view.
Notice, too, that the cards don't have too much information on them, but they also don't have too little. It's like you know exactly what you're getting when you click on it.
Yeah. And that's something I cannot stress enough. Whenever you're creating your Church Connects, being able to make it super painfully obvious what's going on in each. So let's look at some of these. So I'm going to look at this Connect card. So Connect, so first name and last name, phone number, do you text? I like that. That's actually pretty cool. How did you find us? That's the first time I've seen a church ask that in a Connect card. That's pretty brilliant. I might have to steal that. Let's see. Let's take a look at their prayer cards. So submit a prayer request. So your name, how can we pray for you? And can we share this request with other church members? So this is something I see a lot. And Byron, wouldn't you say that this should be like a default for like everybody when they're doing their prayer cards?
Right. Don't assume that the prayer request is public unless they give you permission to share it, for sure.
Yeah, and that's what's so funny is like when we first came out with Church Connect, that wasn't something we really pushed because this was all new to all of us. And then as time went along and we saw churches doing this, I was like, man, that's something we all need to be doing just because it's good to know when someone wants you to share a prayer with others so we can pray because there's power in prayer when we got all of us praying together. But at the same time, there is times where we want to keep those prayer requests really just for the pastor perhaps. But lots of good stuff going on here. Anything else, Byron, that just from looking at this or?
No, really good job. Good job, guys.
Yeah, and it looks like Facebook, so that's probably taken, Facebook group, so that's just a link card. So I'll go back to that iPad view just so everyone can see it in a bigger screen. And that is Calvary Port Austin. Maybe, put their logo up there and that would seal the deal. So we can't really see it in this format, but I downloaded their Connect app to my phone, and their icon is killer. They did a great job in their icon. I'm going to ask Calvary, if you're not on our Facebook group yet, or if you could get on that Facebook group and just share with everybody your icon and how you did that, just because it was clean. I liked it a lot.
Right, and you can customize your icon when people install it on their iPhone or their Android phone. You'll have your custom icon right when they want to open the app and use your platform.
Yeah, and it's so important to customize your icon. So good job. Let's move along to the next one. So we have got Gaston Baptist Church is our next one that we're going to show off here. So let me go ahead and load theirs up. All right, so Gaston Baptist Church, and just kind of looking at it just as an overview, taking it all in. So they've got a women's conference coming up. I really like how they put that at the top, don't you, Byron?
Yeah.
That way it's just kind of like, this is kind of a big focus of our church right now for this month, so let's make sure it's the top of the list.
And keeping in mind that a lot of people are looking on their phones, you might want to change the order of some of your cards to make the more prominent ones towards the top that you want people to see.
Yeah, and if you want to see how to do that, our user guide, we've got all the stuff, but we can also show you later on. Let me go ahead. I'm going to go to the mobile device view here. So we'll go to the iPhone view. Man, that really just pops whenever it's on that smaller screen.
It does.
Because it makes the card so much bigger.
And the logo at the top is really nice. Good job with that.
So this is really, all right, this is an approach I have not seen yet. Byron, have you seen this approach with text message? So I don't see a Connect card anywhere here unless I'm wrong. Do you see a Connect card for someone to fill out their info? I don't see one. But
No.
yet they have this card here, subscribe to receive text messages. So that way, if someone clicks that, they put in their first and last name and their phone number. It's actually brilliant.
Right, and with all the changes that are going on in the telecommunications industry right now, you do really want to get permission from people before you bombard them with messages. So it's a good approach to be able to get their permission up front.
Yeah, but like everyone's ears perk up there. So this is kind of an interesting approach because they've recognized the power of text messages. Because at the end of the day, email's great, and you can call people too. But text messaging, 90% of your people read your text messages that you send them within about 20 minutes of sending it. And this church has recognized that and really wants to push text messages to get out those important messages to their people. And that's also a way where you can start that process of first getting someone's cell phone number, but then as time goes along, they get more plugged into your church, then you can get additional data from them and encourage them to get on Church Connect and actually create an account there. So really interesting approach. I like their logo and how it's just seamless. What do you got, Byron? Anything you want to hit them on?
Like you already pointed out, adding a Connect card of some type would be really good, especially considering you can use those during your worship service to collect decisions, to help connect with people, to register guests who are in attendance. There's so much you can do with a really good Connect card.
Yeah.
And then also, if you notice, if you scroll down a little bit, we have here a staff card,
Okay.
which is a page card. It looks really sharp. They've got an image of their staff, and you click on it to get a biography. This is one way you can definitely do that. With our new gallery card, you can do that as well, where each staff person would have their own picture and then biography underneath it.
Perfect. Yeah, it's I would say the gallery card's definitely, now that just came out last week, that's gonna replace this, I'm sure, for this church pretty soon. So awesome. Anything else from you?
It looks good.
Cool. Yeah, lots going on there. I could spend more time going through, but we still got a couple more we want to hit. So let's go ahead just to give everybody another overview. There is Gaston Baptist Church on the big screen, just kind of seeing all the cards at once here. So they're definitely utilizing a lot of different cards, everything from form cards to page cards, and so on. So, all right, next church we're going to pull up here. This is Pinewoods Chapel. And it was so funny, I was looking at this church earlier today when we were getting ready, and for a brief moment, I thought this was a church not too far from us here in Jacksonville, because we have a church with a similar name, but different church. So Pinewoods Chapel, if you're in there, say hey to us. So this one, I'm kind of obsessed with the logo and how clean it looks at the top.
It looks good. And, some churches may even be asking that question, well, how do I get a good logo? I don't have a logo. And, for even really just a couple $100, you could hire a professional to draw you up a logo. So they're not terribly expensive, or you can find something online. It's not something I'm good at doing.
No, I'm not either.
So it's something definitely that if you don't have the skills, or you don't have someone in your church who has those skills, it might not hurt to pay $100, $200 to get somebody to draw up something for you that'll look really good.
Yeah, I would say Fiverr. I think, have you used Fiverr before?
I have not.
I mean, it's just this random thing, but you can actually go in there and find people that'll do graphic design for you. And I actually have a friend, his church was doing a rebrand, and they found somebody that was like on the other side of the country to do a new logo for them, and it was super reasonable. So, yeah, I'd recommend that. But anyways, going along here, let's go ahead and go to a mobile view. I'm really excited to do a mobile view on this, just because I feel like they were more mobile first in their design of this. So Pinewoods really did a good job of kind of just utilizing buttons here. And I'm going to assume that these are actually pictures they use, Byron. Do you think that is?
Yeah, it looks like it.
And so that way they could customize to make the exact color they want. I strongly recommend that. So that way you can really have all your colors go together very well. Look how they use this orange here with that. Those colors actually go really good in the palette there. So lots of things going on here. One thing I did notice, so they're using a check-in here, and that's a Google form. So they actually put in a Google form into a page card via iframe, and that way people can check in this way. And this is one way to do it. I see a few churches that actually do this method just because they're used to using Google Forms for a lot of other things. But just keep in mind that Church Connect has the ability to track your attendance, where people can record their attendance right there, and that works seamlessly with ChurchTrac.
It does. There is an attendance card that you can put
Yes.
on your Church Connect page, and when people click on it and they're signed in, they can mark themselves and their family members present for that day's events.
Yep. But really, really good. I mean, I am just a sucker for Connect pages that have good colors and everything just looks very uniform, and I like how they did that.
Right, but they've done something that's really stellar as you scroll down, and it's these last 3 cards. Wow, look at how incredible those look.
Yeah, they really took the time to, I mean, obviously maybe use Photoshop or something to make these, I would imagine.
Right, and they've got a really nice looking font on top of it, and the images are top tier. That looks really good.
Yeah.
And good job. I mean, that's amazing.
Cool. Well, anything else you want to add, Byron, or is that pretty much it for this one?
Nope, that's good.
All right. Well, let me go back to the iPad view so everyone can see that. And so that was Pinewoods. So good job, Pinewoods. So many different just ways people are creating these Church Connects. And it's just so funny, like I'll see some Church Connects that are very picture heavy, and then others like Pinewoods where they do like a mix of some really nice pictures and then have buttons. And then other churches I've seen that just have buttons because they want it to be just a super fast place for people to just interact.
Whatever works best for your congregation.
Yeah. And then that comes back down to, some churches use Church Connect as just their app. Other churches use Church Connect as really just a place where people can quickly fill out forms because they already have a website that they're using as their hub. And then other churches are using Church Connect for everything.
Right.
So it really is just what you want it to be. And so that's kind of why we picked a lot of these different Church Connects, just because we're seeing so many different variations. So the last one I've got here, this is...
Oh, we got 2 more, I think.
We had 2 more? Oh, yeah, we do have 2 more. So the next to last, this is Union Grove Church of God of Prophecy. So let me pull them up here. Oh, did it not pull up? Here, let me try it again. Oh, that's right. I copied the wrong thing. And second time's a charm. Perfect. So we've got Union Grove. And, man, the first thing I noticed is their logo I really like.
Yeah, it looks sharp. And notice that this is an example of one of those PNG files that has that transparent background. So regardless of what background color you pick, it's going to look good.
Yeah. And notice, let me go to the mobile view here, just because I want to see this logo a little more. So we'll go to the iPhone. So this logo, that's kind of cool. It actually has the same colorations as all the Connect cards, so it's very uniform. And again, I like consistency. I know you do too, and that looks good.
I do. I would do the cards a little bit different. There's a lot of colors going on, and I would simplify it a little bit. I like solid colors. More simple colors. Maybe use those same colors, but only one color per card. I think that would look really sharp too.
Yeah. Now, again, this is a great example of using big, bold text and images to really just hit home like what each card does, like text alerts, church calendar. Follow us on Facebook. I'm sure this is a link card that goes right to Facebook. This is like if your church is really utilizing Facebook, which I encourage, because Facebook is just such a great tool that most of your people already are on. Have that link card that goes to it because it's just a no-brainer now at this point. Reserve facility. So lots of good things going on. Let me take a look at, let's look at who we are. All right, so this is just quickly kind of telling the story of Union Grove.
Right, that's an example of a page card. You can put a lot of text on those. It looks really good.
Yeah, and you know what's so funny? So to me, just looking at this as a random person, I look at this and I'm like, that's a lot of text. But someone like you look at this because you're very analytical and you want to know about a church before you visit it.
Yeah, it tells you everything you need to know right there.
Yeah, and it's just funny. I always laugh at the differences between you and I, but you're going to have a lot of people that really want to do their research on your church before they go visit it. And so obviously this is a good job of being very thorough, telling people about who you are, what you believe, and all that stuff. But at the same time, as I go through this Church Connect, like everything's just so big and bold and just inviting, and I feel like I can click anything and know what I'm clicking on. So any other
looks
input?
good job, Ryan.
Yeah, and this is a church that's been with us quite some time, so awesome. Well, all right, we've got one last church, so let's finalize everything. I'm just going to go back to that iPad view so everybody can see just the big view of all the things going on here. And again, remember, if this was on a desktop, it would actually go 3 columns wide. So just a quick FYI. So this next church and our last church is Valley Avenue Baptist. So let's go ahead and pull Valley Avenue Baptist up. All right, so this is Valley Avenue Baptist Church. And first thing I notice here, man, those colors perfectly align.
Right, a lot of color alignment here, and some would say I'm a big fan of the blue, so I like it. Some would say, oh, there's too much blue, but I like it. It's done a really good job of the grays and the blues and the whites all working together.
Yeah. Now let's look at. I'm going to pull this on a mobile view just because I like to see it on a mobile device. So we'll look at it on an iPhone. So this church really placed a heavy emphasis on using buttons instead of pictures, which I really like this just because most people are going to be looking at this mobile device, and it just makes it quick to do things like submit a prayer request. So like if I go hit submit prayer request, so that's what's so funny is this is the kind of form card I've created on my previous ones, just because sometimes I'm just hitting for simplicity. And so that's good. I like that.
So let's clarify something that you just said, too. You said using buttons instead of pictures or cards. And so it's important to note that what Wes really meant to say here was that buttons and cards, they're all the same.
Yes.
They're not. There's not like a button feature in Church Connect. So these are just cards that just have a little bit of text, and they look like a button.
Yeah.
And so I think you just created something new here, Wes. Good job.
So button cards. Now, Byron, you had pointed this out to me using all these. What card is this again?
This is an event card.
Okay. So this is where your people they can click to register for the event.
Right.
And
this connects directly to an event that you've entered in ChurchTrac on your event screen. And you can collect information. You can even set up forms on your events that people, when they register, they'll fill out that information.
Cool. And it looks like give here online, so they've got a giving card. I like I say simplicity in a good way. Like, I like the simplicity. I always feel like less is more, especially when we're asking our people to interact and communicate with us. And I think Valley Avenue did a really great job of this. And what's so funny is, as much as I'm a visual person, Byron, I really appreciate this approach.
Yeah, I like it too.
So, cool. Well, that is, so we've gone through a lot of different ones here. And really, I mean, we could spend all day, like, I kid you not, we had, like, I don't know, like almost 100 submissions or something crazy.
There were a lot of submissions that came in.
Yeah.
I wish we had time to do them all because there's so many good things going on out there. But again, if we didn't have a chance to review yours today and you want some feedback on it, put it on that Facebook group. Let us have an opportunity, and some of the other ministries out there to have an opportunity to give you some feedback and to give you some pros and cons on your page as well.
Yeah, and I always like to throw that out. Like, I'm the kind of the guy, I wear a lot of different hats here at ChurchTrac, but I onboard a lot of churches, and this is kind of in my territory. And so if you want to shoot me an email, it's just weston@churchtrac.com. And just let me know, hey, you know, Wes, we're working on Church Connect. What do you think of our Church Connect page? Do you feel like our app icon would look good when people download it? Whatever you want to ask me, just let me know. So gone through a lot here. I really want to open up the floor because I feel like there's going to be some questions about Church Connect and just all the things. And like I said, we could spend hours looking at all these Church Connect pages, but let's answer some questions. And before everybody types out their questions, just a reminder about the Facebook group, and also where can everyone watch all our previous webinars, Byron?
I think it's a site called YouTube. Is that something that we use?
The YouTube page, yes.
We do. We actually have a Vimeo page too with stuff on it.
Yeah, and so if you ever want to check out webinars just like this one, or even our previous different step-by-steps, we have so many videos on YouTube. and that's a great place to check out.
Yeah.
So encourage everybody to do that. So we're going to go ahead and enable the Q&A mode here if it hasn't already been enabled. So I just enabled it. And so what this means is we're going to go ahead and shut down the chat. So we're kind of switching gears here, everybody. So chat is going to be shut down, and Q&A mode has been enabled. And so what you can do here in the Q&A mode is just start asking some questions. And here's what's cool. If you see someone that's already asked a question that you want to ask, then you can actually ask that question or bump it up, and we will answer all these questions until the lights turn off on us here.
Yeah, when the batteries die and the cameras shut off, then we'll call it done.
Yeah, so I think last webinar, I think I answered like 40 questions, Byron.
Every time you say it gets higher, but I think it was about 35.
It felt like 40, but there were so many good questions. So ask all the questions because I know we're going to have some good ones in here. And just to kind of reiterate to everybody, you know what? While we're waiting for questions, I think this would be a good time because, what kind of judges would we be if we didn't say
Pick a winner?
Yeah, well, not necessarily a winner, but like the one that just spoke to me,
There were some really good ones. And the top, I think, would have to go today to Port Austin. What do you think?
That was mine too.
Yeah.
So let me pull up Port Austin again. So give me a second because just to remind everybody of what that one looked like. So copy it, and I'm going to pull it up. We're just going to pull it up on a mobile device. So Port Austin, this was the one I just thought did a good job of simplicity, but at the same time, just making everything that needed to be there, and anything else that would have been noise, they just didn't add it. What was your favorite thing about it?
Well, not only the simplicity, but the consistency. So it's really just a clean page and a lot of easy to access information.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the best way to put it. A lot of information that's easy to access. And while everyone's kind of pulling their questions here, Byron, what would you say was like the theme of like if you could have a takeaway from looking at all these Church Connect pages and like what really makes a good Church Connect? Like what top 3 or 4 things would you say?
Well, I think that logos need to be done well.
Yeah.
Do those right. Do it with a PNG file with a transparent background. Make it look really sharp. Don't have text on it that's too small that you can't read.
Yeah.
Make that look good. It's going to be the first thing that people see at the very top of your page. It needs to be sharp. And I'd say, secondly, use colors and images effectively. Don't have things that are in conflict with each other. Make sure that the colors work well together if you're using multiple colors. And then thirdly, just be consistent. Do the same thing. Don't try to mix it up too much. If you've seen an idea here today, and hopefully you've gotten some inspiration.
There's a lot of inspiration.
Hopefully you're going to walk away with so many ideas. Don't think you have to implement all of them because that would make it look bad. So just be consistent with what you do in whatever style you pick.
Which that's kind of a perfect segue, Byron. You said don't try to implement all of them, and try to be like another church. Your church is your church. Well, it's God's church ultimately. But your church, no one knows your church like you and your leadership. And so when it comes to building out these Connect pages and creating your app and building that icon and everything, you want to really focus on what's best for your ministry. You don't want to try to emulate another church because another church may have a complete demographic. They may be, a church that's 1,000 people and you're a church of 200 people or something like that. And so you're going to have a very different type of goal in mind with your Church Connect. So,
right.
All right. Well, let's go ahead. I'm going to have my team. Wow, the questions are rolling in. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's start answering some questions here, shall we? And we'll be here as long as it takes. So I'm going to have to kind of read them off here for Byron here because you got the glasses going on.
Yeah, can't see well.
So Byron, I've got a question here from Brian. Brian is asking, is there a way to have a card that shows the most recent MailChimp campaign as a digital bulletin? He's thinking. So this is something Byron does, by the way. His code brain is starting to turn the wheels.
That's an interesting idea. Why don't you reach out to us and let's talk a little bit more about what that idea looks like. Currently, there's not a way to do that, but I'd like to hear a little bit more about what you're thinking there.
Yeah, create a support ticket because that's definitely a one-on-one kind of conversation. But I think there might be some ways to do that. We'll see. All right. Let's take a look at the next question. Team, load me a question. Let's see what we got. So this one's from Valerie. So Valerie said, attempted to delete an event card recently, but it didn't allow me to. How do you delete one?
So this might be something that that is already in the works for being corrected. If there's an image on a card, it might not delete. So for right now, just delete the image first and then delete the card. There'll be a fix for that later today.
Oh, yeah, because I saw a message come across.
Yeah.
That's part of our kind of making things better. We're pushing so many updates, it's crazy, and you know all about that. So,
Yep.
All right, so next question. So good question from Valerie. All right, so it looks like I've got a question here I'm going to pull up. So let's go ahead and bring it up. And so this question is from Leavenworth First Baptist Church, and they're asking, is there a way to attach a connect to an event without showing a sign-up link? So I'll repeat this again just for everybody out here. Is there a way to attach a connect to an event without showing a sign-up link?
I think they mean sign-in link.
Okay. Yeah.
So with an event, when you're registering for an event, you do have to be signed in. So yes,
Okay.
if you want to do an event where you're not signing in or not requiring the people to sign in to your Church Connect page, then you probably want to do a form card instead. You'll set up your form, and they'll submit the form information, and then you can manually process that.
And I would say a really good example of that, Byron, would be like VBS, perhaps.
Perhaps, yes.
Yeah, I was just talking with the church the other day, and we were working through, like, what is the best way to get all these kids registered for VBS that's coming up and do it in a way that's super fast and easy. And form card, by far, is the easiest way for this because people can just scan the QR code, open up the app. It takes like 3 seconds, and then they're already ready to go. So
Absolutely.
All right. Let's see here. This is a question from... I'll pull it up. Anonymous. So Anonymous is asking, one of our folks recently created a new website for the church. How would I suggest this to him as a compliment to it? So I'll say that again. So one of their folks recently created a new website for their church. How would you use Church Connect to complement it? That's a loaded question. There's so many different answers to that one.
Well, there are a lot of churches who are using both a website and Church Connect really effectively. You don't have to have just one or the other. Mm-mm. They have different purposes, and while there is some overlap between them, you don't have to use both. You can use both, and we even saw some churches today who were forwarding their church website domain to their Church Connect page.
Yes.
So there's some great ways to do it and do both.
Yeah. Well, and I see a lot of churches that have, phenomenal websites. Like, you can tell they've got someone that is either there part-time or full-time just doing a killer job. And then what they've done is they've made Church Connect really just focus on it being the app for their church and have made it like just here's a few things that you can do on it and really just kind of made it more pinpointed. But like he said, I've seen churches completely just replace their website. So it just comes down to how you want to utilize Connect and have it go in tandem with your website. So good question. All right, so we have got another question here, and this is from Pastor KCB, and he's asking, how can we join your Facebook community? So that is really easy. All you have to do is you go to facebook.com/groups/ChurchTrac, right? And that's a good place. That group really just... Whenever we created this Facebook group, we really didn't know what we were doing, to be completely honest. We were just told, hey, you should create a group. And we're like, all right, we'll create a group and see who comes. And then all these churches just started kind of piling in, and it's just been a great place for community. And I just see all these questions every day, and I'm just like, wow, there's so many people jumping on in there, helping other churches out. But just a kind of quick FYI, and Byron will attest to this, that's not the place to get support. Like, if you're actually needing to reach us about something important, just click that green help button. to get in touch with us. But if you're wanting to just chat with other churches about ChurchTrac or just learn more, that's a phenomenal place to go. So, all right, we've got some more questions here. So this one's from Dan. And Dan's saying, are you still doing workshops with one particular user? Okay, so if you are a new church, that's a good question, Dan. So if you're a new church and you have not done a workshop with us, then you can totally do a workshop. And what that is it's an opportunity to work one-on-one. So you and your team with us in a more one-on-one setting. We'll Zoom with you and just kind of look at everything that your church is doing and what you're wanting to accomplish and just kind of helping make recommendations. And these Zoom workshops have been awesome, haven't they?
Right. And what does it cost to do that, Wes?
It's $0.
Right. We just do that for you as a new ministry with ChurchTrac.
Yes.
Just reach out to us. We'll be happy to help. We'll connect with you.
And what's so crazy is other companies charge a lot of money to be able to talk with them one-on-one for an hour. It's crazy. Yeah. So yes, those Zoom workshops, that's something new we started. I remember when we were talking about that, how can we help these churches on board and make it easy for them? And Byron's like, well, why don't we see if we can Zoom with them and stuff? And with COVID and all the craziness and people getting used to Zoom, it's just been wild. I'm loving it. So
yeah.
All right, so this is a question from Gary. Gary is asking, what is the estimated ratio of churches using Church Connect as a website versus info site for their members?
I don't know that we have that answer. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably about 50-50. So you can use Church Connect just as a member portal where people log in, they can view their own information, they can give online, they can view their giving history. And so it's more of a member tool when you use it like that versus it's got the capability of doing so much more. So it's really whatever your ministry needs, however it's going to serve you best. The sky is almost the limit. Just under the sky, you can do almost anything with Church Connect.
Well, coming back to that multiple choice thing when we were showed,
right.
It does so many different things. And I was looking at a Church Connect the other day, and it was literally just a Church Connect with just different forms. And that was their hub for getting their people to be able to communicate to the right person. Because one of my favorite features with the form cards is when you're filling out a form, I can be filling out a form that's like a prayer request card, and you're the pastor of the church, Byron. And so I'm filling out that form, and that form is getting, or that response is getting emailed to you.
Right.
But then let's say I'm someone that wants to serve in the worship ministry. I fill out that form card to serve, and then that response goes to the worship leader. And then Josh is the worship leader. He gets that response and says, great, we have another bass player. We've been needing one. So it really just comes down to what you need it for. So good question. Next question. All right, so I'm looking here, and you'll have to forgive me, everybody. I have 3 computers going on here, and I feel like I'm driving the Star Trek Enterprise here. It's the best thing to use. Byron, I think that's more of a statement. That's not a question. I'll come back to it if it is a question, but I think that's a statement. Here we go. So here's a question from Elizabeth. Let's take a look at Elizabeth's question. So Elizabeth is asking, is there a way to edit the form card if you forgot a selection to change the field type?
Yes, you can edit the form card. That won't change the data that's already been collected if somebody has already submitted a response to that. But any future responses to that, it will update and give you the new information, whatever you've changed it to be.
So let's say, this is actually a really good question. So let's say I have a form card that's my Church Connect card where I'm asking people's information, and then I decide, you know what, I want to start asking for their email address as well as their phone number. So then once I make that change, all the net form responses are going to just start showing that additional one, or if I took something away, it's going to have it. Okay.
Correct.
But it's not going to affect the previous.
Correct. It won't affect the previous data that's already been collected from those form submissions.
Okay. And you would know since you're part of the team that's coded all of it.
Absolutely.
So. All right. Good question. That was really a really good question, just kind of thinking through that. So let's take a look here. And we still have some questions coming on in. This is great. I see a question for. I have to pull this up. Dan's asking. That is a huge laptop. How many inches is that screen?
This is a 16-inch MacBook Pro.
So yeah, I have this little itty bitty computer, and Byron's got this big huge computer. I think it's because you need it for your glasses.
I am a little older than Wes, but not much.
There'll be a day when I'm old and I need glasses,
You will,
and then
very
you will
soon.
make fun of me endlessly. All right. So next question. Let's see here. So someone was asking, is it possible for an existing user, so this is from Anonymous, is it possible for an existing user to request a Zoom workshop? Yeah, it really, at the end of the day, like, we want to help you. And so if you have been an existing user with us for a while, that doesn't mean you can't do a Zoom workshop. Just email me, Weston, at ChurchTrac.com, and just say, hey, Weston, I want to do a Zoom workshop with you all and learn more. And I'll do that. So I always make time for everybody, especially our people that have been with us a while. Come on now. All right, so next question. Let's see here. Trying to see if we have any other good questions we can address here. My team's kind of just filtering them all to me, and they just kind of post them as they go. All right. And while I'm kind of waiting for some more questions here to roll through, just want to remind everybody about, I'm going to pull up this page real quick. So team, I'm going to share my screen real fast because I really want to show off this page. So when you go into our user guide, talking about Church Connect, our user guide, we have got this great facts page that we've put up here. And let me see if I can get that posted here for everybody. So on our user guide, you go to our facts page. So it's called Church Connect Facts. Let me show you how to get there from the main area. So user guide, and then I go to Church Connect. And then from here, I scroll down just a hair, and it's Church Connect Facts. So I'll zoom in just in case you're watching on a mobile device there. So when you click that, if you scroll down a little bit, I mean, obviously, we got tons of info about Church Connect to help you out. But one thing I really want to point out here for everybody, and I know Byron's really going to appreciate this, a lot of people ask us, where can I find images for my Church Connect page? We actually have listed 4 different places that we have seen a lot of churches pull images from. In
Your
fact,
eyesight's starting to fail there a little bit. You can't see how many.
Yeah, it's 4. Yeah, I couldn't see. I blame my computer screen because I have the small computer and you have the big one. But so Unsplash, Church Media Drop, there's a few others. But that's a great place where you can get images for your church.
And there's more out there. That's just a random selection of church-friendly sites that have some images that you can use.
Yeah, I stress church-friendly. And free photo editing program. Byron, I think you've used Pixlr before, haven't you? Once in the past?
No.
You haven't used that one? I've used Photo and Pixlr, and so if you do need a program to edit some of your photos, you don't need a crazy photo editing program to do the stuff that you've seen here on Church Connect. Most of the things, especially like churches that have created these photos that have like an image, but then they have text over the image and then like maybe some coloration to it, you can do all that on a free photo editing program. So click there and you can check out one of those to edit your Church Connect page. So all that being said, do we have any more cards, or not more cards, more questions? Are there instructions in downloading the app? Yes, there are. Byron, how do I get to those instructions for downloading the app?
So the easiest way, you're a church member, you're sitting in church on your phone. It's like, how do I do it? If it does not automatically come up on your phone and prompt you to install the app, then there are some instructions. You go to the sign-in page right there.
All right, so we're going to show off on a mobile device how to do that. So sign in. So I'm going to click sign in, and
right there on the right, it says need help.
So need help. I would zoom in on that, but I don't think it'll let me. So click need help.
And then this page gives your people a little bit of an overview of what Church Connect is, how they can use it, and there's a link at the top of this page as well for how to install the app in case they've missed the prompt to do so.
Yes, and this is a good one. I actually have seen a lot of churches. What they'll do is they will put this like in a bulletin board, or put it on like a projection screen. I saw one church where they had a quick projection screen picture where they showed how to download the app. And again, for those of you who are still new to Church Connect and you're like, you have an app? I didn't even know there was an app out there. It's downloading it is super easy. You open up your camera on your smartphone, and it doesn't matter if it's an iPhone or an Android. You just hold it up to that QR code. It'll scan it. It'll automatically try to take you directly to it. When you tap on that, it brings you to Church Connect, and then will prompt you to install it, and then you add it to your home screen, and boom, it's done.
Right, that's why it's important to create that custom icon as well,
Yes.
so that it really stands out.
Yes, when you create that custom icon, it just makes it pop, and it makes your church, I don't want to say the word legitimate, because your church is not legitimate just because you don't have an app icon, but it's just the icing on the cake.
Right, otherwise you have to use our fallback default, and it's not nearly as good as what you can do.
No, it's not. So use your own church's app icon. Cool. Well, do we have any other questions that have been posed that we can answer here? We try to answer all the questions having to do with Church Connect and everything. Every once in a while we'll get questions that are like way off topic, and we're just like, you need to create a support ticket, and we'll talk to you one-on-one. So this one's from Donna. What type of card would be good for audio sermons? So, audio sermons, Byron.
So our new gallery card can actually do some of this. We're going to expand that feature in the coming weeks and months and give you more options with that. But for right now, play around with a gallery card and see what it can do.
Okay. And in the meantime, I think I should have church earlier, but like if you already are on like iTunes or Google for the podcasting, then you can actually just use a link card.
Right.
Which that's what I used on my Church Connect. I just had a link card that went straight to the podcast link. So lots of different ways you can do it, which that's probably, I mean, one of my favorite things about Church Connect is the customization. And oftentimes there are like 3 different ways to do something. And it just comes down to, do I need to use a link card for this? Do I need to use a page card? Or do I want to use a gallery card? It really just comes down to your needs and your ministry. And if you ever need help figuring out which is going to be best, just reach out to us. That's what we're here for.
Right. We're happy to help.
All right. So question from Elizabeth. I cannot edit the form card after I've entered data, such as forgetting to change the selection from yes or no to text box.
Maybe reach out to us, Elizabeth, and let us take a look at what's going on. Not real sure based on your question exactly what you're asking, but our team will definitely be able to help you.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Cool. All right, well, that is all the questions, and they're about to shut off the lights on us, and I can see most of everyone. We still have a lot of people hanging out in here, which is awesome to see. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. This was fun getting this guy with us today.
Yeah. We'll have to bring you back every now and then.
Yeah, every now and then. We'll have to pull you away from when you're in your coding mood and doing all that fun stuff, which I don't even know what. I can't code, so I stick to doing this kind of stuff.
Oh, I know.
Awesome. Well, everybody, have a fantastic rest of your week, and we will catch you next time. We've got a lot of webinars scheduled coming up, so be checking your emails and in-app notification. We'll be telling you all about it, and we will see you later. See ya.
Bye.